Why do you care so much? That's what the left asks me a lot when it comes to me saying we're on a slippery slope and wanting children to not be indoctrinated. Recently, Center Theater held a drag show. It would have been April 15th. And I said, hey, we're on a slippery slope. 5-10 years ago, we wouldn't have had that drag show. Now we do. Sure, it's 18 plus, but how long until it is? People called me crazy. And then when I started asking questions on the morality side of things, it was, why do you care so much? I think an easy way to explain that is give another example of where we definitely should care. We look at America's Top app. We're going to be watching a CBN News report on how SOGI, a curriculum on teaching kids to celebrate the homosexual lifestyle, is being pushed in almost all of Canada now. Sounds crazy, because it is. Stuff like this is entering our main school systems and our American school systems, broadly speaking. So to go back to the slippery slope, if we're having drag shows at our local theater where that never would have happened most likely 10 years ago, how long is it until we have those type shows going on in our school systems? If we're already teaching those ideologies to our kids, surprised it isn't happening now. So why do I care so much? I care for our children. I don't want them being taught that there's something wrong with their body and they have to change. I don't want them having rather harmful ideologies being pushed on them 24/7. I don't want our schools to be indoctrination centers. I want them to be places of education where you learn math, writing, reading, science, the basics. Especially for young kids. You know, you're going to see in this upcoming report, they start right off where they're second graders getting told that gender is fluid and they should endorse and celebrate the homosexual lifestyle. I care about those children and I don't want them being abused. So, for everyone who says, why do I care so much? First off, I don't want adults participating in immoral activities. I don't want kids participating in immoral activities. And I sure as heck don't want adults pushing children to celebrate those immoral activities. So I care about the adults and I care about the children because by God's calling, I am called to love the people around me. So, simple answer, why do I care? It's because I love you. And we need to really bring light to what's going on in our culture. So, without any further ado, let's get into the interview. Report. It's kind of scary. Let's see.
A family can be made up in many different ways.
It's called SOGI, for sexual orientation and gender identification.
SOGI. When you hear names like that for curriculums, that probably should just raise a red flag to begin with. I don't know. I guess it's a good sign to know your acronyms.
Curriculum that teaches public school students across Canada to celebrate the homosexual lifestyle, and that
it's teaching children to celebrate the homosexual lifestyle. Why should a kid have to celebrate the homosexual lifestyle? Why should they have to celebrate it? Why should anybody have to celebrate it? I don't agree with your decision to be homosexual to begin with, but at least you can keep it in the bedroom and not push it on anybody else. It's as simple as that.
gender is fluid.
Gender is not fluid. It's as simple as that. There's no way around it.
In other words, your gender is not dependent on what parts you were born with, but rather what you feel like in the...
If gender is subjective, there is no gender. If gender is based off feelings, there is no gender.
moment.
There's people that are boys, there's people that are girls. There are people whose gender might be a little bit of both or might even be neither.
Lessons include books.
So they're doing this whole thing where they have to, put it simply, man is so desperate to be God that we are willing to redefine everything that God defined originally. Simple as that.
about transgender children, such as 10,000 Dresses, and songs like the Rainbow Song.
Gender won't decide the choices we make. Some boys like dressing up, some girls like catching snakes.
The SOGI curriculum starts.
Even the kids look traumatized or bored out of their mind. The kids know this is foolish. I'm actually going to put that back.
You were born with, but rather what you feel like in the moment.
There's people that are boys, there's people that are girls. There are people whose gender might be a little bit of both.
This woman right here should be arrested.
Or might even be neither.
Lessons include books about transgender children, such as 10,000 Dresses.
I really wish Ron DeSantis was in charge of this nation, because this book would no longer be available.
And songs like the Rainbow Song.
Gender won't decide the choices we make.
You look at this little dude's face here, he looks miserable and confused. It's kind of how I feel watching this.
Some boys like dressing up, some girls like catching snakes.
The SOGI curriculum starts.
And by the left's ideology, there's absolutely no consistency. If I just said out of the blue that women love dressing up, I would be told that that's somehow sexist. But in terms of LGBTQ ideologies, we're allowed to make those generalizations.
In British Columbia in 2016 and is quickly spreading throughout Canada.
I just thought, who decided that this was okay to teach our children?
Author.
Amen to that. This woman's based. Who decided that it's okay to teach this to our children? Nobody can answer that. And if they try to give answers to it, their answers are a bunch of crap. It's as simple as that. Name of inclusivity and acceptance and trans lives matter or trans people exist. No one ever suggested that their lives don't matter. No one ever suggested that they don't exist. But it does not give you a right to push those ideologies on other people. It's as simple as that.
Inspirational speaker Laura Lynn Tyler Thompson is a leading voice against the SOGI curriculum.
And we are seeing the results of that now because some kids are reacting very emotionally and saying, and they're in fear. Will I suddenly struggle with feeling like a different gender inside of my body?
Exactly. This is not just recognition of the people that have these ideologies. It's forcing these ideologies on other people. See, what they don't get is this isn't just acceptance. This isn't just inclusivity. This isn't just affording the rights to the people that have these mental standpoints, to put it nicely. What happens when you deny God? When you deny God, you are so desperate to find fulfillment. When you leave that God-shaped hole empty in your life, you are desperate to fill it with something. And in our modern day culture, the LGBTQ ideologies is one of the main things that people try to fill that with. They feel this emptiness inside, and so they wonder, well, maybe my gender's wrong. And so they'll switch it. But then they realize they're empty, so they look for affirmation. And the more affirmation they get, the more fulfilled they feel. But there's only so much that affirmation can do. But if you know the people around you have the same mental standpoint, it's more gratifying. It's more affirmation. It's more fulfilling. It's more solidifying. So even though now it's just you're not the only one who's wrong, the ideologies are still wrong, but you're surrounded by a bunch of people that are wrong, so it's harder to tell that you're not right. It's as simple as that.
Simpson of Culture Guard, another leading opponent, calls the curriculum nothing short of child abuse.
All those beautiful...
It is nothing short of child abuse. Amen to that.
Qualities that make young girls, beautiful girls and women, are being basically vilified. The things that make our boys boys are being, taken from them. So things of equating young men to being strong protectors is something that's now evil.
But Morgan Auger, a transsexual and supporter, claims it's about acceptance, not indoctrination.
The idea is to teach kids that there are gay kids and there are trans kids and there are trans parents and gay parents in our society, and everybody's wanted and desired. After all, that's what our Human Rights Code says, and it's the role of schools to teach the following of our laws, right?
Simpson disagrees, saying she sees Soji's real goal as
altering our culture from a heteronormative society into one where anything goes, no boundaries, no values, no morals. It's a hedonistic cult, basically, what they're implying.
another Blair.
She's 100% right. I can't argue with a single thing there.
Example, drag queen story time. It's happening in Canada and America.
You know, a lot of people will say, oh, it's just people dressing up. And I don't want to be rude to these people. But if you said to me that I was going to take my child into the library and go to a story hour led by someone who was dressed like that, there would be serious alarm bells going off in my head. That doesn't make me hateful, doesn't make me sexist, doesn't make me transphobic, doesn't make me xenophobic, doesn't make me whatever term they want to throw at me. It's because I care about my child. And I don't want them to hop back in the car with me when I'm on my way home and say, Daddy, what was that? So you best believe my future children are not going to be subjected to these type of activities. It's not because I hate the person reading the book. It's because I love my child.
Where some public schools and libraries invite drag queens, some dress like horned demons, to read to young children.
And it's a social deconstructionist agenda.
Yep.
They're using children, little 5-year-olds, to accomplish.
I've said it before, that they're looking to redefine everything. But she said it's a... I'm actually going to go back and make sure I heard it right.
Some dress like horned demons to...
I don't even know how to react to the horned demon thing. That is just sick, twisted, and disgusting.
Read to young children.
And it's a social deconstructionist agenda. They're using children, little 5-year-olds, to accomplish this.
A social deconstructionist agenda. It's 100% true. They're trying to redefine everything. So that way they can deconstruct everything that's already been put together. The based ideologies that make up our society, they want all those gone so that way they can have their trans utopia.
Parents are waking up and saying no.
When asked about parents' rights, O.J. says,
Well, actually, in Canada, parents' rights are limited, and children's rights are put ahead. So the
parents' rights are limited, so that way the government can have full control over your children and program them to be the way they want. Screw you, parents. That's what the Canadian government says. The U.S. government isn't much far behind.
has the right to be protected from the parents when the parents...
The child has the right to be protected from the parents. I'm going to actually put that back so you can hear the entire thing all again.
Says,
Well, actually, in Canada, parents' rights are limited, and children's rights are put ahead. So the child has the right to be protected from the parents when the parents behave badly.
Canada is no...
That right there is what we call a pervert. Just because a parent doesn't want their child to be indoctrinated, that doesn't mean the parent is abusing them or behaving badly. Obviously, a child should be removed from his or her parents, notice his or her parents, if the parent is abusive. But just because they don't want the government to abuse their child doesn't mean that the parent is misbehaving.
Known as one of the most gay-friendly countries in the world, with many of their largest cities featuring their own gay villages, like here in Vancouver, which has literally rolled out the Rainbow Road. Most gays, like village resident Dave Davy DiCarlo, support Soji and limiting parental rights.
The change that we have to see is sometimes the parents And the kids are doing actually really okay.
This is very scary stuff.
So the whole Dave Davy guy, we're gonna replay his part.
Literally rolled out the Rainbow Road.
Most gays, like village resident Dave Davy.
Actually, gonna pause it there. The whole Rainbow Road thing. The LGBTQ community has become not necessarily a community, almost a cult. There's no almost about it. And when you become cultish, you almost have this excessive religious mentality towards whatever ideology you're pushing. They worship these ideologies. It's as simple as that. So if they can have their pride flag everywhere, I should go to all the local towns around here and say, every single crosswalk, need to put a Christian flag. Why not? Give me a solid reason why not. They've essentially made a religion/cult out of these ideologies. It's no longer someone that identifies as the opposite gender or someone that wants to marry someone of the same sex. It's no longer that simple. Notice the slippery slope. It used to be that. People thought it was no big deal. Now look where we are. It's become a cult/religion where we're desperate to redefine everything God designed. We no longer have the red, white, and blue. We have rainbows. It's another thing we redefine that God designed. Rainbows. It's a promise to Noah that he never flood the earth again. Now look how well that lasted. As soon as a human found a way to redefine it, we went right along and did it. Absolutely insane.
DiCarlo supports Soji and limiting parental rights.
The change that we have to see is sometimes the parents. And the kids are doing actually really okay.
This is very...
Who is he to speak on that? Simple as that.
Scary stuff.
Longtime Vancouver area pastor Kevin Kavanaugh says this is far more serious than most Canadian Christians realize.
Our problem is not the teachers, the educators, the administrators. This is a battle in the heavenlies.
He says Satan is going after their most vulnerable, the children.
And the little girl came home in tears because the teacher had told her, since she was playing with some toys in the class that were deemed to be masculine in nature, that she was likely a boy in a girl's body. The mother went to the school the very next day.
Seriously? Oh, come on. Why do these schools... I don't even know how to react to that. Just because a little girl wants to play with a freaking truck or something like that does not mean she's a boy. Oh my gosh.
And instead of having any sort of tolerance or support or understanding, she was actually called names. She was told that she was a homophobe, that she was a bigot.
With that in mind, Tyler Thompson, Simpson, and Pastor Kevin are spreading their message across social media and in town hall meetings.
Good.
The pro-gay backlash.
We need more people like that. The right is terrible at going to local meetings, local town meetings, county Republican meetings, things like that. The right is terrible at getting active at the local level. The right is terrible at getting active to begin with. We need to change that. We need people on the right to get active on social media, in person, local offices, local groups, state level, and national level. Everywhere. These people right here are based, and we need a ton more people like them. This is absolutely fantastic to see.
Has been fierce.
And the hatred and the anger and the bullying that came against us, even though we said, we love you, we don't take from you the opportunity and the freedom to live as you choose. We love you, but we do not agree with you.
Pastor Kevin believes
we love them, but we do not agree with them. It's as simple as that. Yet, as soon as they admit that we're right, because we are, their narrative falls apart. Simple as that.
Canadian Christians are in a 2 Chronicles 20 moment.
The word was this battle is not yours, Jehoshaphat. This battle is the Lord's.
And the church is beginning to prepare for what it takes to fight for our kids.
The battle between an aggressive
I like that lady. She's based.
homosexual agenda and the faith community here in Canada is far from over. But many Christian leaders say it may be the issue that causes a once sleeping church to rise up and be heard. Wendy Griffith, CBS.
I'm going to replay that.
From over. But many Christian leaders say it may be the issue that causes a once sleeping church to rise up and be heard.
She's right. We're not asleep. We're waking up. You know, in a recent Facebook post, I used these words: awake, not woke. Simple as that. We need to get active. You know, I'd love to give a little rally speech right now, but I'm mortified at the fact that our culture is in this state. I am mortified that we would get anywhere near where we are now. I'm not bitter, not angry, but I'm disgusted. I'm convicted. It makes me want to reach out to these people that are struggling with these ideologies. The fact that society is so desperate to redefine everything sacred, to tell children that they need to change themselves, to somehow fulfill themselves without actually changing the one thing that needs to be changed. The mindset, the heart change for Jesus Christ. That's the only thing that needs to be changed. The fact that we indoctrinate children, the fact that adults have strayed so far away from God that they're struggling with the same things that they're pushing on these children. Our culture is so sick and twisted, and people are blind to it. I'm disgusted with our society, and my heart breaks for the people that have fallen victim to it. And what almost hurts even more is that so many members of the church have either been brainwashed to believe it's okay, or two, have been willfully ignorant, so they know it's an issue, but they really don't care. Or waking up. We got to reach these people. It's as simple as that.
Wendy Griffith, CBN News, Vancouver.
We love people. We want children to be free from being indoctrinated. And we want adults and children alike to be set free from the harmful ideologies that society has forced them to accept. We don't want people to be indoctrinated, and we want people to be free so that way they can have a rock-solid relationship with Jesus Christ. It's as simple as that. When we warn people of the slippery slope we're on, we're not crazy conspiracy theorists. We're just warning people of what's coming and giving people a, hey, if you take this step, you could be here in a short matter of time. We don't want you to be falling into those harmful ideologies in the future, so don't even take a step closer to that line. It's as simple as that. Thank you guys so much and have a fantastic day. Don't forget to subscribe to our Patreon and our Spotify. We need your support today to be able to spread the conservative message and make sure people are aware of what's going on in our culture. Without your support, we can't help get the culture back onto the narrow road. Thank you guys so much. Have a fantastic day.